What if you could rewrite your future? Most people think personality is permanent. It isn't. I'm Max the Owl. I'm not a doctor, just a science enthusiast obsessed with how our brains actually work. Today, we build the map of your potential. Over our last few videos, we've held up a mirror to your mind. First, we saw your energy. Then, who you attract. You've seen the reflection. Now, do you like it? Or do you want to change it? Because seeing the reflection is just the diagnosis. It isn't the cure. That brings us to the most important question. Can you actually change? And before we dive in, a quick check-in. If this is starting to feel uncomfortably accurate, hit that like button so I know we're on the right track. The answer is yes. This is the bridge between biology and destiny. Neuroplasticity, your brain's incredible ability to physically rewire itself. Every time you think a thought, you are thickening a neural pathway. It's a simple rule. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Think of your personality like an old hat. Maybe you've worn the angry hat for 20 years. It's comfortable, but it's ugly. You try to take it off, but it feels stuck. That's because your brain has wired this hat to your identity. Changing feels fake at first, like wearing a costume. But here's the secret. If you practice wearing the calm hat long enough, if you force patience when you want to scream, the brain stops fighting. The costume becomes your skin. This isn't just theory. A study on London taxi drivers proved this. They have to memorize 25,000 streets. Brain scans showed that their hippocampus, the memory center, physically grew larger. They didn't just learn a map. They structurally changed their brains to fit their lives. So, you can do the same with your confidence, your patience, or your happiness. But what area of your life needs the biggest upgrade right now? I want to know what you want to master next. Drop a vote in the comments. Do you want to A. Override stress, B. Unlock laser focus, or C. Optimize your deep sleep? I read every single one. And while you decide, here is your first mental upgrade to try today. Practice the pause protocol. When you feel an old trait trigger, like anger or fear, pause. Deny the old neuron the energy to fire. Starve the old you and feed the new you. Let's actually talk about focus for a second, because this is a perfect example of neuroplasticity in real time. Inside your brainstem, there's a bundle of nerves called the reticular activating system, or the RAS. Think of the RAS as the bouncer at a highly exclusive club. At any given second, your brain is bombarded with millions of bits of data. Sights, sounds, smells, the feeling of the shirt on your back, the hum of the air conditioner. If you consciously processed all of it, your brain would completely crash. So, the RAS filters out 99% of it and only lets in what it thinks is important. But here is the crazy part. You are the exact person who programs the bouncer. If you constantly think about how stressed you are, your RAS will literally highlight everything in your environment that validates your stress. You will only notice the traffic, the rude emails, the spilled coffee. It creates a self-fulfilling prophecy of negativity. But if you force your brain to focus on gratitude or opportunity, the bouncer immediately changes the guest list. Suddenly, you start noticing solutions, friendly faces, and open doors that were physically there the whole time, but your brain was filtering them out. Focus isn't just about trying hard to pay attention to a book or a screen. Focus is a biological filter that dictates your actual reality. When you change what you actively look for, you literally change the physical world you get to experience. You are rewriting the base software of your own perception. Now, what about anxiety? Why does it feel so overwhelmingly impossible to turn off, even when you logically know you are completely safe? To understand this, you need to look at the deep architecture of your brain. Deep in the center of your brain is the amygdala. This is your ancient, primitive alarm system. It's designed to keep you alive from predators. When it senses a threat, it instantly floods your body with cortisol and adrenaline. But right behind your forehead is the prefrontal cortex. This is the highly logical, advanced human part of your brain. It's the CEO. Here is the massive problem. When the amygdala fires, it literally steals the blood supply away from the prefrontal cortex. It's a biological phenomenon called an amygdala hijack. Your logic center is entirely taken offline. You literally cannot think your way out of a panic attack because the thinking part of your brain has been physically unplugged. This is exactly why that 3-second pause protocol I just gave you is so absolutely vital. When you stop, take a deep breath, and force a physical pause, you are pushing oxygen and blood back into the prefrontal cortex. You are physically rebooting the CEO of your brain. You don't beat anxiety by fighting the fear. You beat anxiety by turning the logic center back on. Once you realize that your racing heart isn't a character flaw, but just a biological false alarm, you stop judging yourself for it. You just take a breath, flip the switch, and take your power back. And finally, let's look at sleep. You might think sleep is just when your brain shuts down, like turning off a computer at the end of a long day. But neuroscience shows us that sleep is actually the most wildly active construction phase of your entire day. Remember those neural pathways we talked about? The literal roads you are building to create your new personality? The actual physical thickening of those pathways doesn't happen while you are awake. It happens entirely during deep REM sleep. When you sleep, your brain plays back the events of the day and fast forward, chemically solidifying the new habits you practiced. If you practiced wearing the calm hat today, your brain cements that hat to your head tonight. But it gets even wilder than that. While you sleep, your brain activates something called the glymphatic system. Your brain cells literally shrink in size, allowing your cerebrospinal fluid to rush in and powerfully wash away the toxic proteins and metabolic waste that built up while you were awake. It's a biological power wash for your entire mind. If you are cutting your sleep short, you are denying your brain the time it strictly needs to build your new personality, and you are leaving toxic sludge in your neural pathways. You simply can't become a new, optimized person if you are running on a dirty, exhausted engine. Sleep isn't a luxury, and it definitely isn't a sign of weakness. It is the crucial physical labor required to construct the master map of your future self. We are just scratching the surface. This map is yours to explore. You are always evolving. Every second, you are choosing who you will be tomorrow. Don't leave your evolution to chance. Design it. I'm Max. Stay vibrant, and I'll see you in the comments.